Hey, good morning, my friends. How are you? Welcome to the first edition of Behind the Mic with me, Mike Avery. The new year 2025, of course, didn't do it Christmas, which was a Wednesday. Didn't do it New Year's, which was a Wednesday. So this is the next Wednesday on the calendar. So I'm back with you from the Outdoor Magazine radio studio. And in fact, this looks a little different. The lighting is different. The camera angle is different. The camera itself is different because I got here in the studio and things just weren't working as they should because I haven't done this for a couple of weeks. And when you don't do something for a couple of weeks, things have a tendency to change a little bit. So as a result, anytime I touch this, you're going to see it in the camera. Sean, good morning. Tommy, good morning. Bruce, good morning. How are you? Appreciate you joining me on this first edition of Behind the Mic for 2025 as I am in here in the Outdoor Magazine studio to record this week's show. And of course, I will tell you who's coming up on this week's show shortly. Mike, good morning. How are things in Arizona? Jim, always a pleasure to have you along with us. Captain Jim. Had a great new year. 2024, I'll be honest with you, 2024 for the Avery family was not the best year. I mean, we were blessed with a new grandson, so that was wonderful. But there were a lot of challenges in the road for 2024 during 2024. So 2025 is going to be a much better year. Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing about this shot that I like at all. The reflection, the lighting's weird. I have to use my laptop camera, John, like any illiterate tech person has to do. So I apologize, my friends. I will get this figured out. I might sneak in here sometime during the week and change that light switch myself. The camera thing, that I got to worry about, work out. Corey, good morning. Uncle Johnny, how are you, buddy? It was nice having dinner with you and Aunt Debbie the other night. James, Robert, Jason, how you doing, buddy? I see you got the tree down at church. Nice job. Bill says he's so bummed out he can't make the golf outing. He'll be fishing in Canada that week. I'm bummed out too. The golf outing is Friday, July 25th at the West Branch Country Club. Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate that. Some other dates to keep in mind as I look at this shot that's going to drive me crazy. Sometimes I pull excerpts from my Behind the Mic segments here in the studio to run as little video clips. I guarantee you I will not be pulling a video clip from this one because it just doesn't look very good. Dennis Labine, good morning. Hey, Kevin, how you doing? Kevin, the course manager for the West Branch Country Club, where we will be having our second annual Mike Avery Outdoors Charity Golf Outing. Captain Jim says, looks like the bay might be ready to fish later this week. I bet you there are people out there in the bay right now, Jim. I'd be shocked if they're not. Maybe the first ice fishing season in a long time. What do you mean there, Tim? You mean the 51st state? What do you mean by that, Tim? Tim, our resident intellectual, who always challenges me, keeps me thinking along the right line, the 51st state. John, 51st state? Canada. Why would that be our 51st state, Tim? I mean, John knew right away what you're talking about. You and John would have interesting conversations, believe me. Me, on the other hand, I'm an old guy who had a stroke. Tommy says Canada. Why is Canada our 51st state? And don't you answer, John, because I know you have the answer. I'm just too busy worried about the reflections of the light on the logo behind me. All right. Anyway, yes, indeed, it has been cold. There has been lots of ice being made. The ground is finally freezing. Jim says the UP, they've been trying to do that forever. Good point. The UP would be more likely to be in a different state than Canada would be. Sean, good morning. How are you? Is there any way to get someone from the DNR to comment on the solar panels? Sean, it's funny you should ask. I will be talking about those solar panels near Gaylord, the proposed solar panels near Gaylord, this week on the radio show. I don't have somebody from the DNR on here to talk about it. What I do have is an excerpt from DNR Director Scott Bowen to his staff. The Michigan DNR manages 4.6 million acres of public land for the benefit of all Michiganders. As the largest landowner in the state, the DNR can play a role in providing energy needed for society. Recently, this is Scott Bowen, DNR Director, to his staff. Recently, we have asked field staff in the Gaylord unit to review approximately 1,200 acres of state land for a potential solar development site. These lands were considered because there is a solar project being built on adjacent private land, and additional acres could be added to that project. Some areas were identified as acceptable for solar developments. For some acres, land administrators administrating division, the administrators there were unable to reach a consensus. So therefore, I added the therefore. As director, Scott Bowen, have decided that about 420 acres of this land will be put forward for leasing. Wow. So that is what we're going to be talking about in the second hour of this week's show with Justin Tomei of MUCC. I do not have anybody from the DNR on to talk about this, but I have what the DNR director has told his staff. Any totals on the deer count from the UP. You know, it's funny. You guys are reading my mind, because in the second hour of this week's show, Chad Fedewa from the DNR is going to talk about the deer season. Art, can you sneak in here? Can you work around your light there?
Yeah.
And can you get in both of us in here?
Yeah,
It looks
see
different
this professional studio.
No,
now,
it's kind of jury rigged this morning, I'll tell you. How you doing,
Good,
buddy?
Good. How you doing?
Good. You're going to join us Saturday, March 1st?
I am indeed.
Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner. Tickets go on sale January 1st. I will let you know. And you, my friend, I'll just get your tickets for you.
Wow.
That's because you're an impotent guy.
Yeah, right. Impotent.
Impotent.
Yeah, you got it.
All right. You can hear Art on WSTW, AM and FM in the Saginaw area and online, WSTW.com. Any totals on the deer count in the UP? Yes, sir.
I just want to tell you, I came in at the right time to hear your DNR response about that leased land, because I had a question on the show yesterday about it.
It's drawing a lot of attention,
Yep.
isn't it?
Yep.
A lot of people are not happy about this. Okay, Adam, you talked with a guy about big bore rifles a few weeks ago. Who was that guy, and where is he located again? Sim. Let me look it up for you right now. Tom Simon. Tom Simon is the guy's name, and the company is... And again, I apologize because things are jury rigged. My laptop is sitting on my computer bag, so every time I touch it, it wiggles. Real professional organization here this morning, right? High Pressure Pneumatics. The website, myhighpressureair.com, myhighpressureair.com. He is in the Coleman area. Okay, Tim says, Trump says if they can't make it on their own, they should just be our 51st state. So that's where this is coming from. I had not heard that. So thank you for the insight. I make it a point whenever possible to avoid watching the news, because there's really nothing on there that is of interest to me, and there's nothing on there I can do anything about. I try to avoid getting too worried about things that I have no control over. And the things that I have control over is a very, very small universe these days. Hey, Jim, good morning. I do not recognize your last name. Thank you for joining us on this edition of Behind the Mic. Dave, off topic, small family business here in Michigan. Slide Shot helps people get back out of the woods who want to be there. Slideshot.com. Slideshot.com. Check it out. Angie, Michiganders, join our Skyline on Facebook. Platform is growing, a great way to connect in the fight. The man, the myth, the legend, Art Lewis. Jeremy, good morning. Corey says, there's so much vacant, unused land in Detroit. Why not just use that land for a solar farm instead? I talked to Mike Hoadley the other day. Angie says Angela says Mike Hoadley, state representative, is on fire with this green energy topic. I know Mike Hoadley very well. I knew Mike back when he owned and operated the bow company, Predator bows, Predator recurve bows. I got a Predator recurve from Mike. I shot a Predator recurve from Mike for several years and loved it. So I got to know Mike from there. Mike and I have been talking about this very project. He and two other Northern Michigan state legislators want Scott Bowen's, and I'm okay, forgive me for what I'm going to say here. They want Scott Bowen's ass. Scott is the DNR director. They want him. They want him gone. They want him fired. They'd fire Whitmer if they could, but they can't. So they want Bowen and they want the land management guy from the DNR both. They want their jobs. So yeah, he's pretty mad about this. He's pretty hot about this. And I talked to Mike. He said, look, I know you don't like to have politicians on the show. If you want, I am willing to come on. And I said, you're right, Mike. I don't like to have politicians on the radio show. Good morning, Dave. How you doing, buddy? Johnny says, no sound for me. Everybody else is hearing me, I imagine. Ken Borton is one of the other guys. Ken Borton posted a story about the solar panel company pulling out of the deal because of the uproar. I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to be involved in that. Craig, busy day. Same here, Craig. Doug, right back at you, Cap. Tim, good morning. Hey, Craig, before you go, let me tell you something that you're going to be interested in. Tonight, the first Wednesday night live of the year, I'm going to be at the Ultimate Fishing Show in Detroit. In Novi, actually, at the Suburban Collection Showplace. That show doesn't technically open till tomorrow, but I will be there tonight along with Brad Dupuis, Mr. Angler Quest, talking about the new line of Angler Quest boats and going through that lineup tonight on Wednesday Night Live. So that's what I'm doing tonight. So I have a busy day as well. Morning, Mark. How are you? All right, Angie, you made your point. Thank you very much. Ed, good morning from the frozen tundra. Still moving around, getting ready for next summer. And you know what, Angie, I appreciate that. Angie is fighting as hard as she can, and I appreciate that very much. I appreciate the passion. Yes, Shelby, I am. Captain Ed Rutherford getting ready for his 51st or 52nd year on the water. Whoop, I froze up. I froze up. There, I'm back. I froze up for a minute. Oh, a lot of comments to catch up on. Joe, good morning. Randy, yeah, I gave up on late season hunting. I haven't seen any at all. The director that the governor appointed for the land lease, yes, they want him fired. Good morning, Chris. How are you? Predator bows could never be the same after Ron Pitsley died. You know, true, but I think Mike Hoadley did a wonderful job keeping that tradition alive. We all miss Ron Pitsley for sure. Patrick, good morning. Jesse, good morning. Hey, Kevin, how you doing? Shelby Avery, good morning from Bodie. Shelby Avery, my lovely daughter. Bodie, my beautiful youngest grandson. I realize you're not supposed to call a boy beautiful, but he's a beautiful baby. Good morning, Bill. How are you? Jim, your water froze up on you, didn't it? Roy, we'll be doing seminars at Novi covering my topic from the Offshore Tackle podcast, Trolling the Detroit River. Speaking of that, I am doing another Offshore Tackle podcast this afternoon when we get done with the radio show with Dan Dannemuller. Crappie Dan. If we were down south, we'd call him Crappy Dan. I don't want to call him Crappy Dan. Crappie Dan. Matt Shaw, good morning, buddy. How are you? Matt, are you going to be able to join us for the Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction Saturday, March 1st? Johnny got it working. Bill Hoffman, the most interesting man in Michigan, who also wrote the Ode to Mike Avery song that my daughter-in-law actually laughed at because she thought it was so corny. That's not against you, Bill. It's against me. Bill Hoffman says, I remember when Shelby was just one of his little freshmen at U of M. My little Shelby, who's now an attorney in the Detroit area, high-powered attorney in the Detroit area, and a new mom, and doing a great job, as well as a DTR, my son-in-law. Jerry, good morning. Corey says he'll be at the fishing show Thursday to Sunday. Come by and say hi. He's going to be at the church tackle booth. Do that. Those of you listening who will be at the show, stop by the church tackle booth and say hi to my friend Corey. Hey, Jay, good morning. How are you? When is the sturgeon spearing? It doesn't start until February, right, Jay? And Jay, you will be joining us for the second annual Mike Avery Charity Golf Outing, right? It's Friday, July 25th. Again, I apologize for the lighting. I apologize for the reflection. I apologize for I'm just apologizing for everything in general this morning, okay? No, Chris, no more news, no updated news that I have heard. And there's Aditya right there. Good morning, Aditya. Aditya, I know what a stickler to attention you are. I apologize for the way things look this morning. Chris checking in from Grand Rapids. How are things in GR on the west side of the state? Let me tell you who's on the show this week. 60 seconds. First, Devin LaFon talks about his young daughter being attacked by a coyote. Then Tom Campbell of Woods and Water News. In the second hour, Justin Tomei of MUCC talks about this proposed solar project near Gaylord that's getting so much negative attention. Then Dave Thomas of Bowhunter Planet. Then Chad Fedowa from the DNR with a wrap-up of the 2024 deer season here in Michigan. This week's Ask Avery segment features my friend Brad Dupuis talking about Angler Quest boats, what's new. And in hour number 3, Beagles and Bunnies with Corky Legui. Plus, we wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner. Jay, do you want to be on the show talking about this next week? Let's do that next week, okay? Also, again, a reminder tonight, I will be 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. All right, that's the start of the show, the radio show. So I have to change my focus. I will not be concentrating on you. I will be concentrating on this. But just a reminder, tonight, for the first Wednesday night live of the new year, I will be in Novi. The show is not open to the public yet. I will be there at the Freeway Sports Center booth with Mr. Angler Quest, Brad Dupuis, for this first Wednesday night live of 2025. Again, my name is Mike Avery. This is Behind the Mic, kind of a cobbled up, jury-rigged Behind the Mic, and I apologize for that. But we will be ready to rock next week and ready to rock for Wednesday Night Live tonight with Mr. Angler Quest, Brad Dupuis. Have a great day, my friends. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine radio show. Right here on the Outdoor Magazine Radio Network on more than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan. And as always, so glad to have you along with us. It's been cold. I don't need to tell you that. It's been cold. Michigan's meteorologist Mark Torregrossa was on the show with me a few weeks ago, and he said, it's going to get cold. And it did. And as I look at the forecast, it's going to be cold for a while. Cold enough to make ice, that's for sure. Cold enough that my outdoor walks have been a little uncomfortable. In fact, they've morphed into indoor walks on the treadmill. Now, I don't like to walk indoors. I don't like to walk on the treadmill. The only saving grace is I got a big screen TV in front of me, so it helps the time go by faster. But I would really just assume be walking outside. But it's been kind of cold, kind of uncomfortable. But you, my friends, who are ice anglers, you're glad to see this. I get it. I appreciate this, and I wish you well on the ice. These days, I'm just not an ice angler. I used to be. When I was a kid, I used to ice fish on the smaller inland lakes, and that was an absolute riot. Years ago, I used to play around with ice fishing on Saginaw Bay, ice fishing for walleye. And that was an absolute riot as well, but an awful lot of work. And, I don't have a sled to get out there. I don't have a snowmobile. I don't have a quad. I don't have an Argo. I don't want a snowmobile. I don't want a quad. I don't want an Argo. It's just one more thing to take up space, one more thing to worry about, one more thing to screw around with. And at this point in my life, I am minimizing my things to worry about and to take care of, right? So I am picking my outdoor passions accordingly. Now, believe me, if I wanted to go out walleye fishing on Saginaw Bay, or if I wanted to do, honestly, any outdoor activity in Michigan, I know the people who can get me out there. I've got a list of people saying, anytime you want to go, give us a call. We will get you where you want to go. We will use your my buddy's equipment to get out there. But I'm just not much of an ice fisherman. I get the appeal. I do. I get the appeal of having that rod in your hand, looking down through the hole in the ice, watching the fish come in on your electronics, trying to entice them to bite. I get it. I do get the appeal, but it's just not for me anymore. But for those of you who do love ice fishing, congratulations. It looks like we're going to have the first real ice fishing season here in Michigan in many, many years. And I hope you enjoy it. Have a good time. Show me your pictures. Send me your pictures. This is something I haven't promoted much lately. I want to see your pictures of your outdoor passions and your outdoor pursuits. I want to share them with the world. If you don't mind sharing them, please send me an email to mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. That's mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. And I will put them on my Facebook page and maybe my Instagram feed as well. If there is a kid in the outdoors, and that's really what we want to encourage, isn't it? You can include the hashtag Forward Fuels Tradition, or I will include the hashtag Forward Fuels Tradition. And the winner every month gets a $50 gift card to the Forward convenience stores. You can use it for gas or for supplies or whatever. So let's keep that in mind. Some other things to keep in mind. The drawing for the Pure Michigan Hunt winners, and there are 3 of them, is going to be January 24th. I hope you win, because I'm going to, okay? Because after I win, there are openings for 2 of you. So any 2 of you who want to win along with me, feel free to win, but they will be drawing my name. When they call the Pure Michigan Hunt winners, they're going to go Mike A, and they're going to give the last 4 digits of my phone number, and I will win my Pure Michigan Hunt, because I am going to win the Pure Michigan Hunt sometime while I'm still here on Earth. I did not win MUCC's big Super Bowl drawing. I thought, man, this would be the year to go, right? But Craig Coolidge did. So, Craig, congrats to you. Have a great time. Thank you for supporting MUCC. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't mind going to the Super Bowl this year, but I did that mainly to support MUCC and their efforts to defend and encourage people to get outdoors, defend conservation, hunting, fishing, shooting, and trapping, which is basically what this show is about. Promotion, encouraging, defending whenever I can the outdoor lifestyle, the history and tradition of hunting and fishing and shooting and trapping in the great state of Michigan. Some other dates to keep in mind: January 20th. That's when tickets go on sale for our big Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction. I will post a link on the Facebook page for you to get your tickets then. That event is Saturday, March 1st. It's at the Great Hall in Midland. I think it's the 3rd year we've been in there. Really nice venue. January 20th. Again, tickets go on sale for the Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction. Looking down the road, Friday, July 25th. Put that on your calendar now. That's the 2nd annual Mike Avery Outdoors Charity Golf Outing in West Branch at the West Branch Country Club in beautiful Ogemaw County. Encourage you to join us there for that. So what else is going on? I got to be honest with you, the biggest topic of conversation I have heard in the state of Michigan this year among folks who love the outdoors is the uproar over the proposed solar farm project near Gaylord. People are not happy about this. Let me read an excerpt from a letter that DNR Director Scott Bowen sent to his DNR staff. It says the Michigan DNR manages 4.6 million acres of public land for the benefit of all Michiganders. As the largest landowner in the state, the DNR can play a role in providing energy needed for our society. Recently, we have asked field staff in the Gaylord unit to review approximately 1,200 acres of state land for a potential solar development site. These lands were considered because there's a private solar project being built on adjacent lands, and additional acres could be added to that project. Some areas were identified. Let me rephrase that. A solar project being built on adjacent private lands, and additional acres could be added to that project. Some areas were identified as acceptable for solar development, but for some acres, land administering divisions were unable to reach a consensus. As director, I, Scott Bowen, have decided that about 420 acres of this land will be put forward for leasing. That has people very upset for a number of reasons. So upset that some northern Michigan politicians want to see DNR Director Scott Bowen and some of his staff members fired. They want them gone. We will talk more about that later in the show. While we're talking about this, let me tell you who's coming up on this week's show. After the break, Devin LaFond talks about what he's calling a coyote attack on his daughter, his young daughter. She got out of the car. A coyote was waiting there for her and attacked her. Then Tom Campbell of Woods and Water News. In our second hour, Justin Tomei of MUCC follows up on this concept of a proposed solar farm on state land near Gaylord. He's going to give us some insight into this situation. Then Dave Thomas of Bowhunter Planet talks about the state of archery today. Now, I bring that up at this time of year because right now is the ATA, the Archery Trade Association show. Years ago, I always used to go to this show every year and look forward to it. But these days, I don't think it's relevant because we can learn everything that's going on in archery online through press releases, news releases ahead of time. I want to get Dave's perspective on this. Then Chad Fedewa from the DNR with a wrap-up of this past deer season. I realize deer season is still going on in some places, but basically deer season is finally over. And then our Ask Avery segment this week, Brad Dupuis, Mr. Angler Quest, gives us an update of what's going on there. I did a Wednesday night live this past week in Novi at the Ultimate Fishing Show at the Suburban Collection Showplace with Brad Dupuis, showcasing his boats. You can see that on my Facebook page and YouTube channel as well. And in hour number 3, it's Beagles and Bunnies with Corky Legui. Is there any bigger outdoor tradition in Michigan than rabbit hunting with beagles? We'll be talking with Corky about that, and then we'll wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner. Again, my name is Mike Avery. This show is called Outdoor Magazine. There's a podcast version of the Outdoor Magazine radio show. I also have a website. It is mikeaveryoutdoors.com. My email address is mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. I am active on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, a little bit on Twitter. I've looked at TikTok. I've actually posted a couple of videos. I don't think that's my thing, but just do a search for Mike Avery or Mike Avery Outdoors and you will find me. We'll take a break. When we come back, Devin LaFond tells the story of his young daughter being attacked by a coyote. That's right here on Outdoor Magazine. All right, I wanted to address a couple of questions here. Richard, I hear hunting and fishing prices are going up. Is this true? No, it's not true. There was a proposal. It did not stand any chance of ever passing. That's why I didn't spend too much time talking about them. but it did not make it. Jay, yes, I will let you know. Bill says it's 38 in Florida. That's pretty darn cold. Josh Mapes, congrats on a successful predator hunt. Nice job. All right, my friends, have a good day. Like I say, I will be back tonight at 7 o'clock for our first Wednesday night live of the new year. I will be at the Suburban Collection Showplace as a preview of the fishing show there, but also the 2025 lineup of Angler Quest boats. So join me tonight, 7 o'clock, for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. In the meantime, have a great day, my friends.